What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I am Alex, and I'm joined by a very special guest and a very close friend of mine, and I guess the channel in general, Degenerate Jay. And we are here to talk about Spider-Man 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, at the D23 Experience, Expo, whatever, extravaganza, all the E words. It's a pretty straightforward topic here. I know other people have discussed it, but I kind of want to zero in specifically on Spider-Man 2. And again, the general topic is we know they're going. Marvel Games is going to be at D23. This is where it's going to be quite a lot of new information. Marvel, Star Wars, animated, live action. One can cross their fingers for Pirates of the Caribbean. I know I am. But we want to talk specifically, if Spider-Man 2 would show up. So before we get too far in, let me, I've already kind of introduced him, but make sure you guys are subscribed to Jay's channel. The link's in the description. If you just click the @ symbol, it'll take you right there. Watch his stuff. He does amazing content. I'm going to be on his channel as well. Jay, thank you so much for being here.
Hey man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. We are going to get down to business with D23 and the good old Spider-Man and see what we think.
Indeed. So, and this is something, I don't take this lightly because we've seen, I think both of us, there's excitement, mass excitement, including for myself, for Spider-Man 2. It can obviously lead to disappointment when one, gets so excited about if it'll appear at an event, which I'm definitely guilty of, in the past for other games. So I personally, I think the answer is really quick and really easy. So I'll say mine. I'll give it to Jay. My response is I really just don't think it'll be there. It's as easy as that. I don't think Spider-Man 2 will show up at D23 simply for the reason of Sony. You can make this argument for any Sony first-party game, but specifically because of how gigantic Spider-Man and ideally Spider-Man 2 is going to be, I just can't imagine you show a new trailer or honestly even talk. I know you could talk about it and not show anything, maybe that, but to see a new trailer, to see literally anything visually, I can't imagine. Even though D23 is huge, it's the biggest thing. I get that. But if Sony is not part of it, and it's not at a PlayStation showcase or a PlayStation blog or whatever, I just doubt that Sony would sign off on because it would have to be Sony, by the way, sending Insomniac, like, workers to do. I just don't think it'll happen. Jay, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm actually in the same spot as you mostly. Here's what I would expect, if anything, which I'm kind of sitting here hoping that we're wrong. Because it seems like people are very excited. You kind of pointed that out too. Like, people are talking about this online a ton who are into Spider-Man, and it's no hate on them, but it's one of those things where I feel like Sony wants to hold on to this because it's one of their biggest things. And like, if we look at the last few years, it's not that they haven't had anything, but a lot of the news more recently has been around Xbox acquisitions and things like that. So I'm kind of thinking that it's one of those things where Sony wants to come out and be like, no, this is associated with Sony more than Disney. But if we saw anything, maybe a 30-second trailer, if anything, which we already actually saw, we saw a teaser trailer. I would not be shocked if they threw together a pre-rendered 20-30-second thing like, hey, this is still out there, wait till Sony tells you more. But I would be more surprised if that was there than if it wasn't. I don't see Sony wanting to get rid of the good press because yes, it's still a Sony game, but if it happens at D23, what do people associate it with? Disney. I think Sony wants that associated more with Sony than with Disney.
Totally. Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I think the word usage that they have on their press release too is something along the lines of like taking a look at like what's currently happening with Marvel games. And so Spider-Man 2 is in development. It is technically, ongoing, or it's currently happening, but Marvel's Avengers is also currently ongoing. You know what I mean? Like other games can fit that bill. It doesn't need to be all. I think it's because it may be like right under the panel that talks about like Marvel Spider-Man, like the comics and stuff. So maybe people kind of, connect the dots. But I would not be surprised if like Marvel's Avengers did something at D23 instead, like if they did something and not Spider-Man 2, I wouldn't be all that surprised. I also wouldn't be all that surprised for Marvel's Midnight Suns. I honestly think that game could very easily be there. I just don't think it's going to be anything. I guess to simplify it, not even Spider-Man 2, but really almost any big Marvel game. I can't really imagine you get something gigantic because although D23 is huge, it's not it's outside of like the gaming scope. You know what I mean? Like, is this the place to announce that Black Panther EA game? No, not really. You know what I mean? It really isn't. You would probably want to do that in EA's show or the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley, right? That's how I view all of it. Spider-Man's just kind of, you know, caught in the crossfire. So I'm gonna say no. At best, they talk about it, and like Jay said, maybe even without the trailer, they say, hey, don't forget, you know, this game is in development, like Sony's working on it, almost like a spreadsheet, like they're just kind of like reading through what's being in development. That's honestly the best I think we're gonna get.
You want to remind people that these products are still out there, but D23 I think is going to be a big deal. Honestly, Marvel has sort of, I don't want to say hijacked, but become like a huge presence at D23 since the whole merge, where essentially they took over and got involved with Marvel, kind of, you know, the Iron Man 2, like slightly after era, where we were kind of getting into the end of phase 1 of Marvel. I think the D23 became a huge deal for movies, and kind of what we're seeing with Marvel right now, not to extrapolate where they're at completely, but is that there is a bit of fatigue with the MCU. The profits are still there, but they're not quite what they were in a lot of projects. I could see this being used a lot to rebuild some faith in things like that. But of course, like important things, you know, the whole controversy with the VFX artists, like you're not going to see something like that. You're not going to see something, in my opinion, like that Sony wants to make Sony look good. Really, if you see it, it would be so much in passing that I don't know if it's something to get excited about. But again, I really hope I'm wrong on that, because I want people to be excited and enjoy it. I'm much more like on the train of I talk about these, you know, these teasers and stuff when I find them really fun. A lot of times I'm more just kind of waiting for the release date, but I know some people get so into this and so excited, and for their sake I hope it's there, but I don't really expect it.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, again, I'm guilty of that too. I love to cover, you know, games as they go along, even, and then when they release, I think about after the release, not even when the game comes out. But my consolation prize is honestly, my prediction is we see Spider-Man 2, no joke, at whatever PlayStation showcase, if they do one in September or October or something. I do think, honestly, we'll see the game in like a brand new trailer. So if it's not at D23, honestly, my belief and my prediction would be we see something from the game before the end of 2022, which, you know, take my word for it, don't take my word for it, that's fine, but that's my prediction. So let us know what you guys obviously think in the comments below. Again, please make sure you guys go check out Jay's channel. He's doing a ton of fantastic stuff. Obviously, he's talked about Spider-Man, he talks about DC, he's talking about a ton of different things on his channel. A great friend, and I'm really glad, you know, he was able to be on this video. Jay, thank you again so much for being here.
Hey man, thanks for having me. It's always fun to be here, and I you know, we're going to be doing more videos together coming up on both of our channels, so look forward to having you as well.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you all on the next one.